Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 26. Welcome.
SideQuest. Welcome.
This is an intro.
This is an intro to a podcast.
That was the intro song that you guys asked for.
Yes.
There you
I
go.
didn't have much time to work on it. You know?
Yeah, it was more a inspirational type of in the moment type of thing. So
We were talking about Zeppelins, and then all of a sudden, Brian was inspired.
yeah,
So,
yeah. There we go. We got an intro. So how you guys doing? It's Monday. Welcome. How's things?
It's good, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
I thought you were asking chat for a second, and I was like, I'm not supposed to answer right now.
I am fully immersed in Star Wars this weekend.
Nice. Yeah.
The release of Disney Plus has given me the goodness that is. Well, I've started watching A New Hope in 4K HDR, which is real nice. I watched The Mandalorian episodes 1 and 2, which I really enjoyed, and I'm playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
It's a great time.
Yes.
Where's the colon go in that? Is it Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, or is it Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order?
I think it's Jedi colon.
Yeah, the Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah.
All right.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
So is it Star Wars Jedi or is it just Jedi?
It's Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yes, Star Wars.
Jedi.
Under Jedi
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
All right, glad we got to the bottom of that.
See, now would be a perfect time for Fran to fly us to Disney to go have some Star Wars time.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, actually, no.
Yeah.
The perfect time would be in January because that's when the second park or the second ride opens up. Yeah.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
The second.
We'll have to keep
Yeah.
Fran updated.
Yeah. So right now you go to the Millennium
They'll have to
Falcon.
fly us out twice.
Yeah. Exactly. He's gonna fly us twice. Yeah. Now and then.
Oh,
later.
Make me defeat Bad Fran.
Yeah, bad Fran.
Exactly.
We need to bring this up on DCP as well because oh my
for
god,
sure.
bad Fran. No spoilers, but just bad Fran.
I never encountered Bad Fran, and I finished the game.
What?
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah. So there's that. You might not run into Bad Fran in your playthrough.
I ran into bad Fran.
Yeah. So before we get into Jedi Fallen Order,
Yes.
Disney Plus. I was surprised at how awesome Disney Plus is.
It's real good.
It's good, right?
It's really good.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know that National Geographic was part of that.
Right?
So there's a ton of National
Yeah.
Geographic shows on it. Pixar, obviously, I kind of knew Pixar would be in there, but getting 4K HDR versions of Pixar movies, they look fantastic. Of course, all the Star Wars movies are 4K HDR.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mhm.
it's really a nice service.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
It's
is.
good.
You get a lot. It's not just. I think when they came out, it's like Disney Plus. It's like, okay, so I'm gonna get Disney movies and stuff, maybe some Pixar movies, cool. But there's so much on there. You get The Simpsons. I don't know when that happened, but
Yeah,
you
30
also
seasons.
get The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys know that? You guys know that meme when in the console wars, right? Where people are like, "Oh, yo, like here's what Spider-Man looks like on PS4, and it's got nice graphics." And they'll be like, "Here's what Spider-Man looks like on Xbox, and it's black because it's not on Xbox."
Yeah.
So right now it's like, "Here's what Disney Plus looks like in the States. Here's what Disney Plus looks like in the UK." I'm just like, "Yeah, guys, this is great. I'm loving Disney Plus. I'm loving the
Yeah.
series. I'm loving the Mandalorian." No, but yeah, it sounds great. Sounds real good.
So
It is good.
So
It's cheap too. What's it, like $7 a month?
$7. Yeah, I believe so. You can also
Yeah,
get it
it's
bundled
not
with
bad.
Hulu and all that right now, I believe, in ESPN Plus or something. So if you want all
the
those together,
free version of Hulu?
probably not. You know, that's going to be extra. Let's be honest, right?
I don't like commercials.
Me neither, man.
I kind of got used to not having commercials. I can't go back. I can't go back.
Right. So for those that don't know, Disney Plus is rolling launch, and unfortunately, the European side is a very long rolling launch. You got to wait until March, right? Yeah, yeah, March.
Yep.
I wonder
A
if
long way.
they'll re-release Mandalorian for you guys, like on a weekly basis, or if it'll just be there as the full series.
Oh, I
That
bet
would-
it just be there.
That would suck.
So you can just binge it.
I reckon by the time we get it, you guys will have series 2.
Yeah,
They are working on series 2. I saw that they're in
They
production.
better be. I've only seen the first 2 episodes. I'm 100% on board for that series.
So is it weekly for you guys? It's not like
weekly.
Netflix. They haven't dropped the whole series.
Yeah, it's weekly.
Oh,
Correct.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So
Do you know how long it's supposed to be? How many episodes?
no, I don't know. I'm
Oh,
sure that
okay.
information's out there. I just haven't found it.
it's 8 episodes. The budget,
8 episodes.
Budget was
That's
150
not enough,
million,
man.
and apparently
that's not enough.
they're already filming season 2, or they're in production for season 2 already.
More, Tefty.
It's already happening. They're already in production.
Tefty, I want more.
It's happening. You got your answer. They're already making more, man.
Do you guys like that when they release stuff weekly, or do you prefer it when they just dump it?
I like it weekly because so for Netflix, for example, right? I'm looking at the upcoming anime season and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited for that show. And then it says Netflix and I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm going to have to wait for like 3 months because it has to finish airing in Japan because it's coming out weekly. And then it comes out on Netflix because Netflix refuses to release it weekly. So you end up, so you see this really exciting thing is coming out in the next season and it's very awesome. And then you have to wait.
Yeah, it's weird that they do that because there's a few shows that they are episodic weekly on Netflix. They like not all shows are strictly seasonal based, you know?
Yeah.
Like
I'd love if they changed that.
Yeah, that's
I think it's sort of like both ways kind of works quite well because like sometimes, especially if you're busy and working, like sometimes the weekly thing is cool because you're like, all right, cool, my week's been busy, I've got enough time to sneak in that one episode. But then when, especially now we're kind of sort of getting to that Christmas period, it's so nice. You're like, oh, I've got a series. Oh, I've actually got a week off. Oh, and then you like spend 2 days just binging the entire thing. You're like, okay. But
it makes it more of an event though too, where when it comes out 1 episode a week is like that's what you're talking about, that episode with your friends and family for the week, and everybody's kind of on the same page. You know, like Game of Thrones. I think everybody was watching Game of Thrones. Yeah. So you could talk about the most recent episode of Game of Thrones with basically anybody. And, you know, everybody was like, I can't wait to see the next episode. Like, can you believe this happened? Can you believe that happened? Whereas if you watch the entire series kind of whenever, everybody's at different points. Oh, I've only watched up to episode 3, so don't talk about anything after that. So it's like, it hurts the conversation. It hurts like the fun of talking about a series in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
You're absolutely right, Briar, but selfishly, I would prefer to have it all instantly. So I can slam it out in like 2 nights, you know? That'd be great.
Well, the Mandalorian episodes are short too. They're like 30 minutes, 39 minutes. Yeah.
Actual watch time I heard was what, 26 minutes?
Yeah, it's not long. Like you got to watch the credits though, because they have like cool art during the credits.
The credits are super long, which is what is deceiving because they're giving all the information of different languages for stuff. So it's all the languages that it's in.
Wow.
So all of that is the credits. It is a long credits.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder.
It's a very good show though.
It is. It's really well done. It looks fantastic. It has like a old school Star Wars feel mixed in with today's technology, and that's why I really enjoy about that.
Yeah, they got like practical effects in there, which like to me that's kind of the charm of the original 3 movies.
Yeah,
where the practical effects, like the rubber suits, they're just so cool, and they have those in the Mandalorian. And just I don't know, it just adds to the Star Wars feel of the thing.
Yeah, I agree. So Star Wars in general.
Star Wars.
Yes.
Fallen Order, man.
Yes.
Respawn.
Yes.
Fallen Order.
Respawn coming out swinging with this title. Yeah. Holy crap. Right?
They really did.
I'm not going to lie to you. I love this game. Part of that is because I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I really, though, wish they had given it another 3 months in the oven to like kind of iron out some of the jank. Some of the frame rate stuff, some of the combat stuff. Problems? Oh, definitely had frame rate problems, especially when loading a new area. The game would hitch its frame rate a little bit. I've heard on PS4 and Xbox it's even worse than on PC. I played it on PC. Definitely had some frame rate issues. Definitely saw some weird animations. You know, for instance, I'd walk around a corner and there'd be a stormtrooper in the T-pose.
What do you mean? That's part of the game. It's great.
It's asserting dominance, man. What are you talking about?
I think he was just memeing, you know?
Yeah.
Check this out. One of the things about this game is the stormtroopers are hilarious. They have conversations kind of all the time. And sometimes they're talking about how they're going to kick your ass like when you're not around. Sometimes they're like, you're in the middle of a fight and they're like, we got this, guys. He's weak. We got him. Oh no, I'm the last one left. You know, like stuff like that.
The trash talk is great from these guys. Yeah.
There was one enemy I was fighting that was just like scum, just kept calling me scum over and over again. So it was like scum, Jedi scum. I'm like, okay. Calm down. Relax.
But my favorite is the yoked robot, the big robot. I can't remember the specific. Yeah. But like the lines are like inefficient human. Love that.
It's a cool game though. It's a very different Star Wars game than what I've ever played. You see, it's got a lot of influences from like kind of all over the place.
Yes.
A lot of people called it kind of the Dark Souls of Star Wars, where it definitely some of the combat feels inspired by Dark Souls. The kind of stopping at a campfire. It's not a campfire. It's like a meditation area here where you get your health back and you replenish your Estus vials equivalent. You know, like that stuff feels very inspired by Dark Souls. It's not Dark Souls difficulty, but I definitely died in this game.
Did you play it on
Jedi Masters? No, I played on Jedi Master, which is kind of like the middle difficulty. And I felt like it was a pretty good difficulty for me personally because it was challenging, but it wasn't frustrating. Like if I died a couple of times, usually on the third try, I'd get through it.
They tuned it around there, I believe, that difficulty.
They did, yeah. I heard that when they were, because you know when people create a game, they have to tune it around some difficulty and then adjust based on that. So that was a difficulty that they actually tuned it at. So technically, it's the difficulty that they think is what this game is kind of supposed to
play
land
at that
at.
difficulty, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like if we were going to get this game and it was released in a Souls type way, it would just be that difficulty that would be available.
Right. I ended up playing on Grandmaster, it was the things that changed. I think the biggest things was the parry window. Parry window gets very small. I read on I read on Twitter the combat designer said that the parry window gets shrunk to 0.13 seconds.
Wow.
You know, on there. So like it's a very and you notice it too, because a lot of stuff will be like, I didn't parry. What?
Oh, another thing I saw on Twitter actually regarding parrying is that as soon as you press the button, that is when the parry happens. So even if the animation isn't quite there of him holding up the lightsaber, you will still get the parry because you just have to press it at the right time, which is good. Because I mean, I wish the animation lined up a bit better so you'd have that visual confirmation of you parrying. But it is nice that it happens as soon as you press it, because that would be annoying if there was a delay from pressing it and trying to time it with the really fast people.
Yeah.
That was like the Code Vein parry to try and sort of link your animation with the blood code thing. Yeah, that was
the game also, it's kind of set up in like small worlds. You actually fly to different planets and then go and kind of explore the planets individually. And you'll go to a planet, explore some of it, leave the planet, go to a different planet, and you might come back to that original planet multiple times even, which is kind of neat because as you unlock new abilities, you gain the ability to unlock new areas of the planet, sometimes just for finding secrets or unlockables, and sometimes it opens up a whole brand new area with like a new, story stuff in there, which is cool.
It's very Metroid Prime, where you visit an area, there's some things that you clearly cannot access yet, so you progress the story, you get these new tools, and then either the story brings you back there, or you can go there to get secrets, and it's really, really like a great just loop of getting those items, those things that you can do, suddenly force abilities, and then going back to those previous spots, being able to access those areas.
The one thing I don't love about the loop is you'll go to a planet and kind of do your story stuff, and you'll get like a new ability, and then the game wants you to now kind of use that ability to backtrack through the level to get back to your ship to fly away. And I found that like I'd gotten this new story dump, so I really wanted to go pursue that story, not spend the next 30 minutes like backtracking through the level and getting to the ship, right? Like I was appreciative that they are now training me how to use my new ability. But like I just wanted to go and like, talk to the people on the ship, or talk to, do whatever the next thing was going to be. I didn't want to be on that planet anymore. I was wishing for a fast travel system.
Interesting. There was a couple times where I was like, oh, it'd be nice to fast travel back to the ship. But then I also looked at the pathways on the map, and I realized that some things there was like a long way, and then there were shortcuts that weren't obvious initially. So that was kind of fun to me, finding those shortcuts, going back through it.
Yeah. And then it comes up with the big thing on the screen that says, shortcut unlocked.
Yeah.
Like,
Secret discovered. Shortcut unlocked.
Yeah, I think I would have liked a fast travel system. Not even necessarily just to go back to the ship, but if it's like, oh, there's one secret that I didn't get in this location. Okay, let me fast travel there, get that over with. Because the way that Dark Souls balances the fact that you can just fast travel kind of from wherever you want in terms of those bonfires is that they place them in very specific places. So you still have to go through this area to get to this other area. But you can at least get to the start of it.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they unlocked the fast travel after you beat the game. So then you could,
that'd be good.
Yeah, then you could just go and like collect all those secrets without having to retraversing and everything. But I feel like part of that journey though is having to retrace some of your steps.
It is,
because they change enemy composition too in some points. So like it's definitely part of the story that you now have.
That's how I found Bad Fran.
Bad Fran. So speak to that, Watts. What exactly is Bad Fran?
Bad Fran is a character in the game that is like a boss fight that has a gun and a shield and blinding grenades. Oh, and a push ability.
He's got the
Bad
force.
Fran's got it all.
Bad Fran's got it.
Bad Fran does have it.
Bad Fran's a bounty hunter,
Not as
right?
good hair as good Fran.
Yeah. He's a bounty hunter, right?
I believe so.
Right? Yeah. So there's a system in the game that's fascinating. You don't see it too often, but I encountered, I think, 4 bounty hunters. Certain areas are set up in a way where they'll have a chance to spawn a bounty hunter instead of the regular enemies. And there's quite a few of them because I never encountered Bad Fran in my playthrough. Yeah. I finished the game. So there's a lot of bounty hunters that you can randomly run into, and you get an achievement if you kill them. If you don't kill them, though, and they kill you, there's something special that happens. And
there is, which I don't want to spoil because it was actually really freaking cool.
Yeah.
When that happened.
Now I want to know what the. Oh,
not doing it, man. So they're random. Like I said, I never never had Bad Fran spawn, and there was a few times where they spawned, and I was like, crap, because some of them are hyper aggressive and a real pain in the ass.
Yes. And you're down on heals, and you're not even, you only get one chance right before the special thing happens.
Yeah. And if they kill you and you already done the one thing, then they don't respawn again. So you can't get like I'm coming back from better trained this time. It's like, no, you get one chance, and then they might respawn sometime later in the game.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun game, especially if this game feels Star Wars-y, right?
It does.
Especially once you unlock some of the abilities, you start off pretty basic like a pretty basic Jedi. You got a lightsaber, you got the ability to slow down time, and that's about it. And then as you play, you unlock more kind of force powers. And those force powers, and there's kind of like this upgrade grid. So you get skill points by killing enemies, finding secrets. It's kind of like how Dark Souls works, where in Dark Souls you suck in the souls, and then you spend those souls to get upgrades, right? Yeah. And then if an enemy kills you, they take your souls. That kind of happens in this. There's no real physical representation of that, other than when you see the enemy that killed you and you hit them once, you get all that experience back.
Yeah.
But you start unlocking skills like cooler lightsaber moves, more health.
The skills are
more
awesome.
Powerful ways to use your force. Yeah, and then that starts upgrading your combat abilities in really fun ways. Like you all of a sudden have all these extra abilities that are hilarious sometimes. I don't want to ruin too much, but force push on bridges is dope.
It's fantastic, man. You even get achievements for pushing enough people off, too.
Yeah, the game clearly knows that you're going to do this. So there's like a specific animation for stormtroopers that happens to them when they get force pushed off a bridge, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's fascinating chaining all the different combat elements in it, because you have quite a few options, and especially as you start unlocking all the skill tree stuff, it's like you can easily forget about things too. There's a lot of them. Like the one really good one is like the double tap square. It does a lot of it breaks a lot of their poise when you when they actually get the stab animation into the enemies. And I forgot about that a lot, but every now and then I'd accidentally do it and be like, oh yeah, that just breaks their poise so easily when you do it correctly.
Yeah, it's fun. The combat is, I find it pretty satisfying. Sometimes clumsy, but mostly satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a really nice balance in it that I don't know. It makes you want to explore the combat system. It doesn't feel generic, you know. Like I feel like previous titles have had that. Like, well, once you've learned that aspect of throwing or using the lightsaber, that's it. This feels very fluid, and the animation.
That's what I noticed from watching. Because so I haven't played it myself yet, but like one of the guys on my team has sort of been playing it, so I've seen stuff through the videos that we've been doing for it. So that's on my backlog, but I've been super looking forward to it because from like an external perspective, I feel like it's been quite some time since we've had a good Star Wars game. Like a lot of the previous ones, much like you were saying before, they almost feel more like, when they make like the rubbish movie spin-off games for like, Marvel films and things like that, the ones that aren't the good ones. That's kind of where I sort of put a lot of Star Wars games before. I know some people like things like The Force Unleashed, but to me, it still was a little bit like, once you know the button, like you hack through with lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
The last good Star Wars game that I always enjoyed was like Jedi Academy and Jedi Knight 2. Like those ones were like really good because they had mastery behind the lightsaber system, behind all the combat, all the different forces. And then watching a load of gameplay for this one, seeing a lot of people play this one and kind of like, some of the stuff that we've been doing. Like, yeah, I definitely kind of get that vibe from it. It looks really, really like it looks like it kind of sort of conveys that genuine experience. So and sort of combining some of the best things from like other video games like this. I mean, just from the intro moment, the first like 40 minutes of the game, the train section looks like something straight out of like, Uncharted, but like in a Star Wars setting.
Oh yeah.
So
there's a lot of platforming and a lot of Uncharted elements that are in this game as well. So it's like the good parts, like. It's fun to traverse the levels, and that kind of harkens back to that Metroid Prime type of thing of re-traversing levels and getting secrets there. It has those elements. So you have like the tool set in front of you once you've unlocked all of them to go and get all that stuff in the levels, right?
It doesn't do that like Tomb Raider or Uncharted thing where you're just like holding up on the stick and climbing a wall for what feels like 10 minutes.
Right.
Like when you're climbing stuff and when you're traversing like terrain, it feels like you actually have to aim your character. Like you can just fall, right? It's like, there's wall running, there's ropes. Sometimes you gotta wall run, jump off the wall, force grab a rope to bring it to you because you wouldn't be able to reach it otherwise, then swing across. Like it's all very satisfying, and it all feels, it feels like there's skill involved as opposed to just a lot of times with Tomb Raider or Uncharted, I'm just pushing up or I'm pushing sideways, and I'm definitely just crawling across, And you're a Jedi, so you also feel like, well, a Jedi could do this, not just like a regular dude,
Yeah, and I really like that in this game they actually had us experience a low to mid-tier Jedi. Like we didn't come in this game and we were just freaking slaying everything. We were struggling and unlocking things as we go, and then you get more and more powerful and you feel more like a Jedi, which is perfect for a Star Wars game because Star Wars is all about the progression of characters.
Yep.
So to actually experience that low to mid-tier Jedi was amazing.
A really cool angle. It also played really well into the skill unlock as well. Like you're not a Jedi Master and you lost your skills. You're just a basic Jedi learning to become a Jedi Master. And then as you unlock those skills, it makes sense. Or you have memories that come back to you. I want to also say back to what Eric's was saying with the old school or the previous version or the previous titles that weren't as in depth. And also what you were saying, Briar, with the climbing, how Uncharted, you just push forward. Like I think that's the biggest difference in this game is that there is a lot of nuance that's baked into it, and that's what makes it great. I found that towards the end, I still couldn't just run in and button mash to kill enemies. You get punished heavily for that. So every encounter, I'd be like, oh, okay, how am I going to plan this attack? Go in, hopefully do it correctly, and then I succeed and get to move on to the next area. And I felt like that was with the traversal system as well, going through levels, and just basically every encounter, I was like, oh, how am I going to deal with all these guys? All right, let's figure this out.
It's an interesting conversation that I've seen a few people have on Twitter of if the Dark Souls style fighting is actually becoming the default for games now, because we've seen a few games come out and instead of the old, hack and slash kind of experience, they're starting to put in more of this Dark Souls like gameplay.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum style fighting seemed to dominate for about 7 years or so, right?
Yep.
And now maybe we're moving on to a more Dark Souls style, more deliberate style.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Not everybody's gonna like.
The thing is, like, 'cause I think there's ways to go about doing that as well. Because I mean, although like when you typically say like Dark Souls, it's like, oh, I don't want to do this punishing difficult thing, but I think you can still kind of get that element of it without it having to always be like bang your head against the wall kind of thing. Because you can I mean, much like I've sort of the fact that Fallen Order has all these different difficulty options, but you can still have those core elements. So I think it's important. I think to Tefty's point, like to go into a fight and be like, how do I tackle this? Not just like, let me go into the fight and just like swing my lightsaber around and watch the stormtroopers fall to the ground
constantly.
Yeah.
Like occasionally that's kind of cool, but I feel like if you want that, you kind of go and play a Dynasty Warriors game and it's like your stressful game, right? I feel like for a lot of things, more deliberate combat is just so much more rewarding, right? Obviously you don't want every single fight to be like, all right, let me just do all the calculations and like algebra starts coming on screen. Like, how am I going to do this? But like I think especially as you start progressing through it, and then you kind of get to that mastery point where like, all right, I am at the end game now, and now I see those bunch of stormtroopers who at the beginning might have given me all the trouble, but now I know how to deal with them. It just becomes so much more rewarding. So I feel like there's definitely I mean, okay, I'm a little bit biased because I enjoy those kind of games, but I wouldn't mind if that sort of becomes the default style for a little bit, because it's just really rewarding.
It's satisfying.
It is, yeah. And it doesn't have to be as hard, like you said. It's more so about the not just hacking and slashing, but actually being present and thinking about how to tackle things, combat. Not necessarily Dark Souls is in it's super duper difficult, but just that you're doing things deliberate combat.
To be fair, there's a very wide variety of enemies, and once you figure out the combat, you go through stormtroopers, like basic bitch stormtroopers.
Oh yeah,
you fly through them because you're able to just reflect their laser beams right back at them, and you can take out 5 of them in a second. Like you can run at them, kind of like blocking their attacks as you go. Occasionally hit like the what is it, reversal button, and it fires back laser back at one of them, and then you swipe. It's only one swipe to kill them, and they have no melee defense.
Yeah.
So you really just like the basic stormtroopers you can just mow through. But as there's other enemies that take a lot more thought. There's like droids that you can only, the only way to get to them is to actually like reflect a laser beam that they fire back at them, and you got to do that twice.
Or you can pull, or you can pull
them once you've unlocked that. Yeah. But they also explode, so you can actually pull them toward you and then push them at a group of enemies, have them explode and blow up. Like there's a lot of fun to be had. Like once you kind of like get a hold of that kind of stuff, and there's a ton of different enemies types.
Did you unlock the ability to hack robots?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can also pull it forward and have BD1 hack it, and then it's your buddy in there.
Yeah.
Which we didn't.
It's a cool game. It's a real cool game.
So
it's a very good game.
We didn't talk about story, and obviously we're not going to do spoilers for what the story is and all that. But one character that I absolutely love is BD1. He's your sidekick, the robot. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He
might be my favorite droid, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like BD1 is just great.
BD1 is absolutely adorable, and he's your sidekick, and the expression level from all the beeps and all that, like boo, if it's sad, like I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, he's very much Star Wars, like R2D2, BB1 type.
Yeah, but it looks like a small dog. Like the animations, the way he moves his feet and all that, and the ears. It's
and then
adorable.
There's this cool animation. Every time you find a chest, you open the chest and he dives in and goes rummaging around for like the cool stuff in there, and then he comes out with it. Which when you're out exploring and you're looking for stuff, there's some stuff that's really valuable. Like you can get more health pips, which means that you can get healed more. Like I think you could get up to like 7 or 8 of them. And those are really valuable, and you really want to find them, and they could be in any chest. But most chests have basically nothing in them. Like they're basically cosmetics that don't look that good, and you don't really care. But you have to look in every chest because you're looking for that health.
I'll have you know I'm looking for the coolest poncho. Thank you.
The coolest poncho. Those 2 words that have never been together before.
So
coolest poncho.
just to correct a little bit, it is actually when they're yellow chests. Yellow chests will give a canister upgrade. They're always yellow. The white
but
one,
you don't know where a chest is going to be, so you have to like
for
every
sure
corner for every chest.
The cosmetics, like they're definitely not great. I mean, the lightsaber cosmetics are cool getting different parts.
They're
and all
cool.
That.
Yeah.
But the ponchos,
but they don't affect gameplay really.
No, they don't affect gameplay at all. The ponchos, I only found one that I liked, and the rest were like,
yeah.
I
found one that looked like a white sheet of plastic. It was just...
yeah. So we actually had this conversation on stream last night, and some people were saying, yeah, so the cosmetics suck, man. What the hell? And I'm like, well, it's a single player game. Like, it does.
Yeah.
I wish that the things I got out of the chest would affect gameplay, but I also don't want Respawn to bounce the game around a level system. So a stormtrooper at the end would take like 15 hits if I didn't have the proper leveling versus the stormtrooper in the beginning. Like, I feel like that would have sucked having that type of system in the game. And how
I agree with that.
How else do they put upgrades to your actual combat in there unless there's things like that in the game? So I guess I'm okay with the cosmetics, but they're definitely not the highlight.
I feel like they needed something to put in those chests, and that's what they kind of, at least they're not charging extra for them.
Exactly.
At least they're not
Thank God.
Back to the story though, Tefty.
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy I'm not enjoying the story that much. I'm enjoying the characters. Like, I really like my shipmates. I find it like, I want to know every time you get off the ship or you get on the ship, like, you can talk to your shipmates, and I go through all the dialogue options because I really am interested in both of them. And there's a twist, like, there's a couple of twists to their backstories, which I really enjoyed. And, you know, I didn't see coming, and the bad guys have some actual motivation and they're cool. But mostly the story is go after this MacGuffin. You got to go find the 3 tombs of MacGuffin, open them up. You know, like, it was kind of like, just like, you know, whatever, we need something to go after. Here it is. But so the story itself wasn't that interesting to me, but the characters really held my attention.
Sure.
I really liked the characters, except for the main character. He's a little meh.
You don't like the main character? Yeah.
I just didn't. I couldn't really identify with him ever.
He's kind of isn't he just kind of like default Jedi man number 2?
Default Cypher guy.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I guess, I don't know. Would I want a Star Wars game to really take a big chance with a story that's going to be controversial versus follow a formula that is great for exploration and like that tomb discovery and deep in like the Jedi lore and all that? Like, I don't know, because like all this, apparently it's canon from what I've heard, from what people talk about. So the game is in the world and it's set in canon. And I think the voice acting and the actual dialogue was stellar.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a big part of the story to me. The beats were not unique at all. And like playing through all of it, like there was a couple twists, but they weren't big twists, you know? But the actual emotion that the characters gave and the delivery, I thought was stellar. And so I guess that's why I'm like, sure, there's some generic stuff going on in the story, but it was a great time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a fun game, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. The first level, like right out the gate, like you're in this like kind of deconstruction. You're basically taking apart starships as part of a like a, I don't know, deconstruction crew. Like you're kind of like a construction person before you kind of like you start being a Jedi. And it's just like this amazingly cool level with where the skybox is like Star Destroyers being dismantled. Like it just is amazing.
It does look phenomenal. As soon as you get into the game, you're like, oh my God, this game is gorgeous.
Yeah, even right, like you zoom into your character, like the first thing you see is like this kind of zooming shot where you're kind of like flying through this level, and it zooms in on your character and his friend talking. Yeah, and you're like, wow, that was cool.
Yeah, a bunch of the cutscenes, man, I was like, dude, there is a level of cinematography that's being added to games now that's like just highly detailed.
I think that's why I said I was speaking on, and I was like, it feels like you're playing a Star Wars movie. Like that's how Star Wars it feels, is that it feels like you're playing one of the movies.
The music, I felt like really lended itself to that too, because it really has music that calls back to Star Wars music by John Williams. Like it feels like Star Wars music. Like and when something epic is happening, they ramp up that Star Wars music, And it's like, oh, okay, here we are. I'm a Jedi and I'm about to fight, and this feels awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
This game, I feel like this game was made for me. Like,
Exactly.
They went out and made a game perfect for me.
It's a fantastic game. There's definitely technical bugs. I experienced those as well. I had like
there are
enemies suddenly falling when they're on the ground. You know, like they're. It was like, oh, okay. Also zoning. I mean, there is a zoning cheese that you can do with a lot of enemies where
basically everything.
Yeah, they're locked to a zone and they'll chase you up to that zone and then they'll be like, huh, I can't see you anymore. I guess I'll disappear. Turn around and like walk away. Then you just stab them in the back. You're like, get zoned.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying earlier. It's like they could have used like 2 or 3 months. I feel like it just polish on this game. I did download a patch today, so but I couldn't find what was in that patch. But hopefully they patch it up relatively quickly, and because performance is an issue, I know on the consoles and on PC.
I got lucky because I didn't have too many performance issues. There was a few drops
here
here and there.
1080 though, with like a high-end computer.
1080 Ti i7 7700K. So yes, but
at 1080p.
At 1080p, yeah.
Right.
And it was basically 100 FPS and higher most of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, there were some on consoles because the guy on my channel that was playing the for the content and stuff. He was playing on Xbox One X. Oh, it looks great. There were sometimes he said that he would kind of get into an area and he's like nothing loads. And he's like just sits and waits and sees trees popping in. He's like, okay,
oh, that's rough.
Just wait for a little bit.
That's too bad. Yeah.
But apparently it wasn't all the time, but like it was. There were times.
Yeah.
The frame rate drops for me seem to be most often when I was loading into a new area or when the game was loading.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when it happened to me as well. It's going through those loading kind of mid areas where it just tanks a bit.
Yeah. That's too bad.
But usually during like combat, I didn't have a problem with frame rate.
One thing that we didn't mention, I just want to give a quick shout out to, is the map. The map is phenomenal in this game.
Yeah.
It has like, because BD is the one who projects it. So you click on it and it goes to map mode, but like BD's giving you the representation of the area, and it feels like a old school game brought into current modern technology. Like that Metro.
Let me tell you, when you pop that map and there's like a tree branch in the way, it is terrifying.
Little visual
I can't
glitch.
see a damn thing. I'm just like, oh god, there's a giant tree branch in my. Okay.
I liked how it was BD that was projecting it too, because that like made sense.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many games where you have this like 3D map and like this like doesn't really make sense to the game world at all. But whatever.
You're like, how did you get access to a 3D map character that's in the game right now?
Yeah.
I don't buy this.
My Apple Watch up. Yeah, let me just do it.
Yeah,
Guy
exactly.
who is in ancient Greece.
Yeah.
Oddly though, is when you go to the meditation places where you can save your game, you can refill your health and your like health
health heals.
Health heals, and you can upgrade your character. But when you do that, when you refill your health, it resets all the enemies in the area.
Yeah.
Dark Souls like.
Yep.
And there is no explanation in the game for why suddenly all these stormtroopers respawn only when you get your health back.
That's true. Yeah, there is no explanation for that.
They're just like, yeah.
They're like, we have risen.
It's kind of funny though.
Yeah.
But it's useful because you can kind of get an area where you can farm XP to upgrade your character faster.
Yep. So overall, I'd say it's a solid 9 out of 10 for me, aside from performance problems. Like if they get those ironed out, man, easy 9 out of 10. It's great, especially if you're a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9 out of 10 if it ran like more flawlessly. Really, to me, it's more like a 7.5, 8.
Okay.
Just because of the performance issues. And I know that I've got very powerful PC hardware and I was still having some performance issues. So if you got less powerful PC hardware in the console, I know it's like even like old school pop-in, like textures loading slow, that kind of stuff. And that's disappointing to see in the modern age.
Sure. Yeah.
And especially since Titanfall 2 just ran so flawlessly.
Different engine.
Yeah, that was the Source engine that they had modified, and this is the Unreal engine.
Yep.
So I wonder why they did that. Why they switched engines.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like Unreal Engine. Yeah, I don't know. Should we move on?
Between this and Vader Immortal, which I played this summer in VR.
Oh.
And Disney Plus having all this
Yes.
Star Wars content, man. It's like Star Wars nerds' best day.
It's Star Wars heaven,
It really
man.
is.
Yeah, man. It's
I
real good.
love it. Great.
Yeah.
And don't we have a new Star Wars game movie coming out?
Yeah, December.
Yeah,
yeah,
in December.
right?
What?
Ooh.
I know, man. It's amazing. So much great stuff.
The trailer looks crazy for that one as well.
We need to talk about Pokemon.
We do. Whoa.
Right over to our
we should've-
Pokemon and a master
expert.
reporter.
Expert Pokemon person, Eric's.
We should have used the popping texture as the segue into Pokemon. no. I've been. I think the game's great, right? Let me just start right by saying that predictably, everybody that has been complaining about the game has obviously gone out and bought the game and has stopped talking about it and stopped complaining about it because they're enjoying how good and damn fun the game is.
Okay.
Right? Sure, the game's not perfect. Sure, there are issues, but I mean, it's a Pokemon game. The funny thing is, right, I realized like literally the day before when some of the reviews were coming out, right, people were nitpicking on some of the stupidest things, right? They were just like, oh, the graphics not perfect. I'm sorry, you've never played Pokemon for the graphics. They're like, oh, it's not very difficult. I'm sorry, mate. If you've ever found a Pokemon game difficult, you're not very good at games, all right? I mean no disrespect. Pokemon games are not difficult. Why are you trying to make up these things? You're like this. It's just like there were so many funny things. I was like, you're literally picking out these weird things that Pokemon has never been known for, and you're calling like what the hell? I mean, okay, yeah, there are some obvious things where you're running on more powerful hardware, you're running on Switch. There are some things where like you do get some random popping. You might walk down the street and then suddenly an NPC pops out of the corner, and it's like, all right, fair enough. But I'm like, really, like when you think about what Pokemon is. I feel like things like that, I feel like I'm a lot more forgiving of because in a game like Pokemon, I'm not playing it for the hugely cinematic experience, right? So I feel like if you're walking down somewhere like in like the Star Wars game and you're walking down this amazing scenery and then something pops in, I feel like that's a lot more visually jarring than in a very cartoony world where I'm catching giant Pokemon and something just like pops out of the grass. I'm like, it's not going to ruin my experience. But anyway, hyper-specific stuff aside, it's really good. It's actually a really, really, like, probably one of my favorite Pokemon games in a very long time. And I'm at the 6th gym now, so I'm still not quite the way through yet. But from everything I've encountered so far, they've got some, like, really, there's a lot of, like, nice quality of life things in here. Things that, like, haven't been present for, well, ever, and it's like it's good to sort of like finally see them in there. Even like it sounds silly, but even like simple things like the amount of Pokemon games that I've played now. I've played every single one since the beginning, and every single time you go through the same flow. It's like, hey, go out and find out how to catch a Pokemon. Here, let me teach you how to throw the ball. Right now, this game sort of like some of the simple stuff it lets you just kind of bypass. Like you have conversation dialogues, and where an NPC used to be like, oh, let me explain to you the world of Pokemon, you can be like, no, I already know this, and just skip past it. And even like when it comes to like catching Pokemon, your very first, normally your very first catch is you meet the professor in the grass and he's like, here's how to throw a ball. Whereas in fact, in this one, you get given some Pokeballs early. And if you happen to go to the grass, you're like, all right, I'm just going to start catching. They'll still teach you afterwards. But like, so there's a lot of things that have been put in place to almost kind of just streamline the experience, not to make it easy or anything like that, but just like some of the unnecessary, like, stuff from before that just sort of slowed down the process. Like, I feel like I've had quite a like natural, organic, process throughout. Something else they put in place as well is that there's always been in Pokemon games like an item you can get, and I appreciate this is something that not everybody is a huge fan of, but I personally don't really care too tough. But there's always been an item before which is XP share, right? You normally give it to one Pokemon to hold, and it splits the XP between two different of Pokemon. So then when you're leveling your team, it's just easy to level something up, right? Now in Pokemon Sword and Shield, they've basically just got an always-on XP share for your entire team, which I'm fine with, because like when I'm playing through, I think sometimes it's sort of like people get so attached to old school like artificial difficulty. A similar kind of thing in like Monster Hunter when World came about, and then there's so many quality of life things like you don't stand still and drink your potion, which invariably leads to you getting hit in the old games, which people then attributed to difficulty when in actual fact it's just an artificial archaic mechanic. So in things like Pokemon, when you have when you something like being able to just sort of like level up your team as I'm playing through, like I pick my team, I'm like, okay, cool. At least I know that when I'm battling, every single thing is progressively leveling up versus like, oh wait, I need to shuffle around my team and spend the next 2 hours in the grass so that everything can be level 20. That's much more akin to like regular RPGs, because you think about it, you play like a typical JRPG and your team fights and then everyone in your team gets some XP, right? So I definitely feel that there's a lot of things in place for like some nice quality of life. You can swap you actually have an item that lets you swap Pokemon just out in the field. So, like in the past, if you caught something and you've passed your 6 limit, then something has to go to the box. If you want to get that Pokemon out, you then have to go back to the Pokemon Center. Whereas now you can get an item and literally just drag it straight from the box. So that way you can kind of, on the fly be like, oh, actually, I wanted to level up this new Pokemon I caught and, swap them around. So there's a lot of like streamlining, which is nice, which is really cool. In terms of visuals, I think the game looks really, really good. I mean, it might not be the best. In fact, it's definitely not the most visually impressive Switch game. And understandably, when you think about stuff that people have done with like Breath of the Wild and some of the other games, or the fact that you can kind of get The Witcher running on Switch, sure, there might have been a lot more they could have done with it, but it's still a really nice looking, like great overall Pokemon experience.
Yeah.
The thing that
it's
kind of
like this is the first time they've had like real 3D graphics, right?
Properly like this, yeah. They've been sort of like the attempts sort of like towards the end of the 3DS ones, but not in the same vein as this. So yeah. Basically,
and it's got like real 3D movement. You're not like on a grid.
Yes, yeah, you have full 3D movement. Even and there's certain areas. So this is the cool thing as well. Like there's certain areas you still have like a lot of it's the fixed area. But when you go to this new area, the wild area, you can even. It sounds weird to kind of talk about this like it's a groundbreaking feature, but you can even spin your camera around, and then you've got complete 3D movement. Whereas it used to be very sort of locked. But I mean, on that topic as well,
isometric.
Yeah. But on that topic, when you kind of get to that area, that's one of the cool new systems. In this, the wild area is probably the one thing that isn't fully fleshed out right now, and I feel is probably the one thing that maybe like given a couple more revisions might be better. But basically the way that it works now is that you've got this big central area called the wild area, which is an area you can revisit at numerous times throughout the game. The wild area is like a huge open field. You can walk between different areas, between like the grassy area to like the desert area and stuff like that, and then you can encounter Pokemon as you normally would in this. And the nice thing as well is that Pokemon now are, much like they introduced in Let's Go, Pokemon are out in the field. So instead of having to have the silly random encounters, you can actually see what is there, which is really cool. They do still have some random encounters. You'll be going through the grass and there'll be like an exclamation mark, which can be a random encounter, but you can also just see like most of the Pokemon, which is cool because obviously, A, it means if you're, shiny farming, you can make sure you're getting the right things. B, if you just want to, avoid something, sometimes you just like, I always complain in every Pokemon game I've ever played, going through the caves always used to be the most frustrating thing because you walk into a cave, 2 steps, there's a Zubat. Another 2 steps, there's another Zubat. I'm just like, I just want to get out the cave, man. So
that is a leftover from like the early days of RPGs on like the NES.
Right.
That just drives me crazy when I see it in modern day. It's like random encounters. They are like they're just completely invisible. You just start walking forward and the screen flashes. Now you're in a battle.
Yep.
And like like I just want to get where I'm
It's
going.
the same thing with Final Fantasy. It's like I'm just trying to get back to the city. Oh God, here we go again. This is why
the thing I've always hated about those things as well is because they always create this. Well, I mean, unless you're someone that just like loves all those grinding things, right? They always create a vicious cycle for me because whenever you have like those annoying random encounters, you get so frustrated that eventually you start running from all the encounters.
Right.
And then by the time you then get to the point a little bit further forward where you're like, I've skipped a few too many encounters, so now I'm under-leveled, and now I have to go back and grind those things, those things I've been missing, just so I can fight this stinking boss thing. But yeah, so that's nice. Having them in the overworld is cool. But the interesting thing about the world area, there's a couple of cool things here, is that in this area, you can get Pokemon that will be your level, but there will also be some Pokemon that are specifically very strong early level. So whereas normally Pokemon progressively you'll just fight, you go through level 10, 15, 20 as you go. Whereas you might be walking to this, like the very first time you might walk into like the wild area and you're like level 15, something like that. You might happen to bump into one Pokemon and it'll say when you encounter them, it'll be like, oh, you've encountered a very, very strong Snorlax, and it'll be like 20 levels higher than you. And you're like, oh, okay. So obviously you have no chance of defeating it, and you obviously can't catch it then.
I don't care how strong that Snorlax is. I'm not going to be afraid of it.
Well, the funny thing is the amount of times I've had these situations where I bump into like this really strong Pokemon that's like 20 levels higher. I'm like, let me run from this. And then occasionally in typical RNG fashion, it's like, you can't run from this battle. I'm like, and I'm just like, get slapped up by this Pokemon. But the cool thing is that there's like a middle ground between that, because sometimes you might be able to, if they're sort of like high enough but not super high, you can catch something that's like a decent level where is a straightaway addition to your team. Typically in Pokemon, you catch a Pokemon, it's a little bit lower than where you are, and you have to spend some time leveling up. So it's quite an interesting dynamic in that area. Plus, this is where the multiplayer stuff comes in, because the wild area is also a place where you can invite some friends there. I think it's only up to 3 friends, so a total of 4. You can kind of roam around the wild area, and then there's also the raid battles, which is kind of like the element from Pokemon Go to a degree. You'll find these little red like beacons in the wild area. You interact with them, and they'll typically have like a silhouette of a Pokemon, and then you go into the battle with it. And the raid battle will be, you'll fight like a giant version. So in Pokemon Sword and Shield, they've got Dynamax, which is where you can have the huge evolved versions of the Pokemon. And you fight like this giant version of the Pokemon. You fight it as a group of 4. So in a typical raid battle, everyone's attacking the same giant Pokemon. You can Dynamax your Pokemon. And then if you fight and you capture, once you get that down to like, 0 HP, it goes into a special catch state. So you can catch the raid Pokemon. And the interesting thing about that one is that there is a system in the game. So you have the Dynamax system, where in battles you can make your Pokemon gigantic for like 3 turns. And you typically do this a lot of times in battles.
It's not very long.
Just for 3. Yeah, it's not too long, but because they're super powerful. Like you don't want to have that take too long.
Maybe extend that length a little bit. maybe. but right, if you catch some of these Pokemon from a raid battle, they get the ability to go into Gigantamax, which is like a bigger version. And they actually, so whereas if you go Dynamax, it just makes it bigger. It's a bigger version of the existing model, whereas the Gigantamax, it's almost like a gigantic evolution, because it physically changes its appearance.
Ooh, yeah.
And it looks different.
If you go Gigantamax for more than 3 turns, you should see a doctor.
See a doctor. Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. That's that system's actually really cool, right? I've heard a lot of people that kind of play Pokemon slightly more competitively. They kind of complain about the system because it's super really broken, because if one person Dynamaxes and it's like trying to fight like a Pokemon stupidly higher level than you, it's just they're super tanky. But the typical way it's set up is that like in a gym battle, you'll get the gym leaders like down to his final Pokemon. He'll Dynamax it. It'll be a massive Pokemon. You Dynamax your one, and you have the 2 sort of Battle of the Titans, like giant Pokemon battles. It's just really cool to watch, which I definitely like. I definitely really enjoy it. But yeah, I think like, overall, it's been a pretty like obviously I don't like so every Pokemon game has always got a kind of quote unquote evil team. You're sort of like Team Rocket kind of person. They've already got some sort of dastardly plan. Now I don't know whether this will change once I get a little bit further in the game, because obviously I'm still not there. But the team in this one are quite rubbish, right? Because in the previous ones, like Team Rocket were obviously trying to steal all the Pokemon. They obviously had their big agendas. Like, you had all the ones from like
Team Rocket was the bad guys?
They were, unfortunately. I hate to break it to you. But then, but in this one, right, the team they're called Team Yell, right? And they're basically just a bunch of idiots that are there to support their favorite Pokemon trainer. So they just get in the way because they're like, no, we're going to get in the way of trainers because we're going to cheer on our friend who's going to do really well. No. It's like,
wow,
you guys are supposed to be the bad guys.
Like toxic fans.
Yeah,
basically like toxic fans, but there's also like super polite toxic fans, because then they blocked one bridge before. An old lady was like, "Can I get past?" They're like, "Sure." And then I was like, "Can I get past?" They're like, "No." Well, okay, all right.
They're like the ultimate stans. This is stan culture, right?
Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah, so they are quite weak, and like on the story front, it's definitely. I mean, again, this is one of those things. I don't really play Pokemon for the story either, right? But like story is like a little bit weak from what I've played thus far. But I did always quite like having the interesting sort of like bad guy teams. But the important thing is that the whole region is modeled on the UK, right? So like we've got So in previous Pokemon games, like they're modeled on various parts of like Japan. I think one of them was like the last one. The one before was, I think it was sort of like part of somewhere in Europe, and then this one is obviously like the UK kind of area. So you've got some sort of typical UK stereotypes. We've got like the Bobby policeman, and you've got sort of like some like taxi drivers and going around. It's great. It's great. There's like a place.
Even
there's like
words they use are super British.
Are they?
Yeah.
There are some.
The dialogue, I'm like, that's something my mom would say.
It's so true. So yeah, I mean, so overall, I definitely like. I mean, I'm not a hugely critical person, right? But at the end of the day, when you look at like what everyone was kind of complaining about beforehand, and okay, yes, like would the game be a lot better if they had the full Pokédex? 100% it would. Like it'd definitely be great if they could. And I don't understand the ins and outs of their development process to know exactly why they weren't there. But I will say for me, that is not something that I've ever really been too fussed about, because every time I play a new Pokemon game, I always want to play through. Like, I've specifically made sure, because they do the typical blend where like there's a lot of new Pokemon, there's obviously a lot of returning Pokemon, and you encounter them both throughout the game. I'm making sure that my current new team is only new Pokemon. So even if I've got some favorites from previous games, I won't use them in my team because I just want to have a new experience. That's what I do in every Pokemon game. So at the moment, I'm not even at a position where I'm like, I miss seeing Charizard or Blastoise. I couldn't care less, right? I'm playing through, I'm seeing some cool new stuff. I'm enjoying the experience. Battles are cool. Everything's fun. And yeah, I think it's just, I definitely, if you like Pokemon, you're gonna love it. So like, all the fan outrage before, like ignore all that. Like if you like Pokemon and you've loved it before, it's great. If it's your first ever Pokemon experience, it's probably actually a good place to jump in, because a lot of the tedious, annoying stuff from before is actually, it's quite streamlined. So
I feel like I really want to start from Pokemon Red and Blue and work my way up to, I don't want to miss out on any story beats.
You should
definitely very important.
You should be a Pokemon master, Grandmaster by the end of that, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
I've seen the Pokemon movie, so I feel like I'm already a master.
That's like
true.
That's the pamphlet to get you started. Be like, so you want to be a Pokemon master? Watch this movie.
And then you want to catch every Pokemon, transfer them between every single game, so that you can be outraged when you can't do that in Sword and Shield.
Right.
See,
exactly. I want to be outraged. I'm not outraged enough. I'm not satisfactorily outraged.
You can't get my experience.
I need to cancel Nintendo.
That's your Nintendo subscription for that Disney Plus.
That's right. Man. Cool. Showtime got the boot for that.
Well, I have not played it or bought it. I mean, there's always a potential in the future, but Pokemon's not my thing. But I get the appeal for sure. I'm all about that collection system, so I could see myself getting into it.
Maybe.
Yeah,
solid tefty maybe.
Yeah, it's
also
solid
a
maybe,
no.
which is the most
you
likely.
You don't want to be the very best that no one ever has. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside.
How long is the game? You say you're Gym 6 out of 8. How many hours have you put into it, you think?
How many hours? I can. Oh no, I can't tell because I'm charging my Switch because it ran out of battery because I've been playing it so much. I've probably put in like 20 hours. I want to say maybe that, something like that. So give or take. I mean, I reckon main campaign completion will be like 20, 30 hours, give or take. Kind of typical sort of Pokemon thing. But obviously, once you get through that, because like, depending on how you play your Pokemon games, right, you can have the kind of typical completion. Then after you defeated the Elite Four, you then have things like Battle Tower. You can go back and obviously start, and especially if you want to start using the Gigantamax system, you're going to be going and doing a lot more stuff in the wild area, because then now that you are higher level, you'll be able to much more viable for a lot of that stuff. So there's kind of an end game loop to it. I've never really been someone that, I love Pokemon, but I normally just play the kind of Golden Lion. I do my Elite Four stuff, and then I kind of tap out. So, but yeah, I think you would have. Nope. In my entire time playing in my Pokemon history, I can probably count on one hand how many shinies I've had.
So you never filled out
all of them.
Never filled out an entire catalog of shinies. Wow.
Nah, I'm a dirty casual.
Dirty man. Dirty casual.
I'm not. I've been on a Pokemon lockout until they make Pokemon Snap 2. Then I'll get back on board.
I want Pokemon
until
Snap.
Then,
that is what I want.
No, thank you, Game Freak.
I mean, you can take screenshots on the Nintendo Switch, so that's technically.
But do I
Pokemon
get
Snap.
rated for it?
No.
I guess the internet.
I'll rate you, Watts. You send me the picture and I'll tell you how good it
is. But you can post it directly to Twitter, and then the internet can rate it.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Outsource your rating. All right.
Oh, exactly right.
So we should have a follow-up on Death Stranding.
I need to know Briar's thoughts.
Yeah.
Look, I was telling Tefty this the other day before DCP. This game is so squarely not made for me. Like, it doesn't do any of the things that I like out of video games. It does so many of the things that I don't like. Like
I was hoping for the old sideline of Briar coming in being like, and actually it's amazing and I love it. Turns out
it is amazing.
there's no plot twist.
But I don't love it. Like it's just not for me. Like, and I can appreciate it's like watching a movie. Like like you might watch a movie like Royal Tenenbaums, where you can definitely appreciate the artistry and the work and like how good this movie is on like a conceptual level, a technical level, like a acting level, a storytelling level, like a filmmaking level, just cinematography. But you may come out of the movie and be like, I didn't get anything out of that movie. Like I didn't like the movie. And that's how I feel about Death Stranding. I see all the cool stuff about it, but when I actually play it, I'm like, this is boring. And I don't like it.
I have that experience a lot with action games, actually, adventure games and action movies. I find them really boring. That's
the opposite of me, Watts. Is I love shit blowing up. I love action. My favorite games: Tomb Raider, Uncharted. What we're playing now, Jedi.
Have you ever had
those are like my favorite things?
Briar, have you ever had 300 kilos on your back? You fly off the cliff and your motorcycle blows up right in front of you with all the packages. I mean, that's the motorcycles, man.
Motorcycles are the most fun things on the planet Earth, except in this video game.
That one I'll agree with.
The first motorcycle is really bad, unfortunately.
So bad.
Yeah, they get better, but the first motorcycle is god awful.
It reminds me a lot. I've been playing Red Dead Redemption on PC, and it reminds me a lot of that game, where there's so much about that game that I love and that I adore. But there's so much of like just this, okay, for the 20th time in an hour, I'm skinning an animal. I've got to wait 30 seconds to watch this animation. It just like that kind of thing just drives me up the wall. Up the wall. So it's like, I don't hate on anybody for loving Death Stranding. It's just not my thing. It's just not for me.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like perfectly made for me. It's the type of game that I would play when I was growing up, where I would just do all the side quest stuff and really get lost in the world. So it reminds me of the games I played growing up.
Yeah, sure. That Japanese kind of, that Kojima way of telling a story has never been for me. I like talking to people about it, like how crazy he is when he tells a story. Like the Metal Gear Solid stories have always been just like, they got more and more batshit as they went on, right? And that was fun in its own way. And this is too, like talking to people about what's going on in the story of this game. It's fun. And like, like the other night I tuned into Tefty's stream, and he was human trafficking. He had bagged up a lady and was carrying her across the forest, tripping over rocks. And he delivers the lady, and this like just bizarre sequence happens where she meets up with her husband, and they're given likes, like they thumb up and a little
I love that.
Up.
I freaking love that like part. That was amazing.
That pulls me out so hard. I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's just not for me.
That's fair, man.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still end of chapter 5. I really want to see what the story ends up happening. I get super sucked into building roads and zip lines. In fact, there's a part in the game that you're supposed to have this deep conversation with a person that, but there's more human trafficking in the future of the game. So there's another part, and there's this deep conversation that happens with this section of the game, and I had built such a convenient system of zip lines that I had to sit and wait on my zip line for about 5 minutes for the dialogue to finish before I could finally drop down and then go finish the quest.
This was supposed to happen while you were walking?
Yeah, it was supposed to happen while you're going across this really intense landscape that like it was going to be a pain in the ass to traverse, but you had to do it because this is the request of this person that's important. And I
haven't built a zip line yet.
Oh, they're so good.
Oh, you need the zip line.
I've unlocked it. I just haven't done it yet.
Are you building roads at least?
No, I just use other people's roads.
Jesus Christ. Filthy casual.
Eric's is on your server. He's totally on your server.
You're getting taxed. All right.
I can promise you that I'll at least give you one like for your road, though. Right?
Unbelievable.
My like, Only one, right? But no,
it's,
see,
it's
my
the
Death
automatic
Stranding life,
like
right?
it's like tips being it's
It is,
gratuity
it's an
being added
auto like.
to a 6 or more party at a restaurant.
No, but even this is how like I'm playing the Dark Souls version of Death Stranding, right? Because everyone talks about like, oh, what you want to do? You want to get a road, get a vehicle, beam down the road. I'm like, I don't need vehicles. I've got 2 little trolleys tied together with the rope, tied to my back. I load up as many things as I can on my 2 trolleys, and I literally walked down a road the other day, all the way with my trolley, delivered everything, walked back with my trolley, delivered everything again, and I literally go around on my trolley, and then when my trolley's empty, I surf it. That's it. That's my
So
Death Stranding
I guess you
experience.
don't need a truck to carry large materials if you're not actually using any materials.
It's true.
Oh no! I carry lots of materials. I put them on my trolleys and I carry them. I carry like 200
What do you do
kilograms
with them
of
though if you're not
metals.
building roads?
Oh no! I take them to like deliver the other place. You know, like the engineer always wants metals. He's always like a hungry guy
Oh, I
for
see.
materials.
The quest materials. Yeah.
I do occasionally put like a few metals into a road just so I can get a few free likes. I don't complete the road. I just put enough in just so I can get the road.
This is the
Filthy,
worst.
man.
This is truly
Unbelievable.
terrible.
How can you
Yep.
carry 1,000 kilos with the trolleys?
I believe if I can distribute them between my strong level 3 power legs and my 2 trolleys, I'm pretty sure I can.
You probably could.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, with the truck,
it's quite slow.
With the truck, man, you have so much space once you get the truck.
Oh, it's insane.
Like
I've got
insane
the truck.
amounts of space that you can put in there.
But I can't get in the truck if I've got my trolleys attached. You see.
Load them up in the truck, man.
Yeah, you see,
You load them in the
problem.
truck.
No, but then I have to take the trolleys off. You see the problem here.
You've developed a bond.
I cannot be party with my trolley. I actually found it the other day. If they get caught on the road and I walk too far, it snaps the line, and I almost lost everything.
That happened to me multiple times. I was like, these trolleys suck. Eric's lied to me. Damn it.
You're not gonna like zip lines then, because you gotta put the trolley on your back to take the zip line.
Yeah.
Well, the great thing about that, I need to test it with the zip. Oh, do you actually have to? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the great thing about ladders and the great thing about like ropes is that I was like, when I went down my first ladder, I was like, what's gonna happen with the trolley? And then I started climbing the ladder, and the trolley just goes down the ladder. I was like, this is great.
That's nice. Yeah, it doesn't happen with the zip line, unfortunately. Zip line it's efficient.
Oh, then I'm never gonna use zip lines. Never.
Oh, this is so good.
They are truly amazing.
Zip lining everywhere.
I'm now getting about 5,000 likes every 3 minutes.
Whoa.
In Death Stranding. Oh, it's gone nuts.
How many likes do you have right now?
I think I'm at when I last left, which was 2 days ago, it was 135, 140,000.
I need. What is this because of the road system? Because I should be
I think it is. I mean, I have some really well placed generators and stuff too, but I think it's mostly the roads because I've built all the way up the mountain.
I should be getting showered with freaking likes.
Maybe you are. Maybe if you get on now, you'll be like, dear God.
Because I built the road all the way up to the mountains. Yeah.
Have you been playing over the weekend, Tefty, or
No.
have you been playing Force?
No, I played Force.
Maybe you
Are you
exclusively.
playing today?
Or maybe all your stuff has gotten death rained away.
Death rained. Time rained.
You'll go back to your game and everything's gone.
That would be the ultimate disappointment if that happens.
Let me tell you, living in Seattle where it rains all the time is just permanently making me think of Timefall.
Timefall, that's what it's called. Not Death Rain.
I'm
Basically Death
every
Rain.
time. I feel like I'm in Death Stranding permanently.
That's great.
All right, so I wanted to talk about Google Stadia pre-show.
Yes.
But Tefty, you told me, no, wait. We got to talk about this on the
Google
show.
Stadia.
Yes, I know. We're pretty late in the show, but yes, we need to have a quick discussion because Paul Tassi put out an article
Uh-huh.
and it's questionable about the state of Google Stadia.
Really?
Yeah. So he had some time. He spent like a week, and he says he has good internet, like 300.
Oh, he says that, does he?
He says a lot of people say they have good internet. I don't know. Like, unless you have 1,000 up and down, do you really have good internet? Let's be honest, right? So he had some real rocky experiences with it. A lot of lag, voice desync happening. He said that the Destiny 2 on console looks better than what you're getting out of Google Stadia, which that was very surprising. Yeah. Because technically Google Stadia is supposed to be 4K 60 FPS for Destiny. That's not the case.
If you
the Premiere
are like a Premiere, yeah.
Yeah, which technically if you're getting it you are, right? Because
you get 3 months free of Premiere if you get the kind of
So he had
founder edition
in his article in Forbes magazine. He goes through the fact that he talked to support. They're like, lower your settings down to 1080p, which the whole point of having the Premiere was for you so you can do 4K. It was still doing stuttering and desync issues, and just like it would drop resolution heavily to then catch back up, just like how Netflix does when it loses bandwidth.
Sure.
Yeah. That was happening consistently and a lot. And it wasn't just like a few games. It's like all the games that he experienced. It's a real rocky situation that he experienced on there. And it seems like other people are also having similar experiences with that. So initially how we were saying, man, what a perfect system to be able to have a Destiny 2 on the go. Might not be the case.
Yeah, it's I've heard a few things, because I think IGN reviewed it and they said they didn't have any of those problems, but a lot of the features that their Stadia is wanting to put in it are not live with launch.
Some of the coolest stuff, right?
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of it works fine, but definitely wait for all those features before you invest in it. I'm sure the experience is going to vary drastically based on where you live, because it's not just your internet connection, right? I would assume it's how close you are to the data center of Google and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch
your
of things.
Home network, because you have to run this thing off of Wi-Fi, right?
No, you can plug it in with Ethernet, and they actually recommend that you do
connect
that.
To
controller's wireless as well. I'm not sure about the controller. Yeah.
Okay, so you can plug Ethernet into the Chromecast?
You can, yeah. They actually were sending out emails. Today I got an email about it where they recommended that you plug directly in. If you are using Wi-Fi, they recommend that Wi-Fi is in the same room as where you're playing, which so for me, Stadia, when it first was announced, I was like, oh, this would be really good to take when traveling, because there's stuff that happens in Destiny. Say if I go to Japan for 2 weeks, I can't, if I want to, I can bring a gaming laptop, but they're very expensive. So that's just not possible for a lot of people. Or I can get a PlayStation, which is even less likely that that's going to happen, to buy a PlayStation out there.
Although about as portable as a gaming laptop.
Yeah, exactly. So I was really interested in it for that. But of course, you're going to have hotel Wi-Fi, which could be good or bad. Some hotels allow you to hook up an Ethernet, some don't. So you're going to have a really varying experience. So I'm personally still interested in trying it for myself to see if it can be what I want it to be, because I never wanted it to be like a main thing that I play on, and I wanted it to be more of a niche situational thing that I use when I'm traveling, or if I'm like have to go to an appointment somewhere and I know I'm going to be waiting forever, I can actually play it on my phone, which would be cool.
Problem is, I just don't think it's going to be reliable in those situations.
That's the problem.
It's like the most reliable it's going to be is in the situations where you'd actually have access to your main system, your main PC, your consoles, and all that.
Exactly right.
So why would you pick Google Stadia over those other platforms? Because they're clearly better.
Yeah,
it's like a weird backward system, because in theory, although obviously we know the way the internet works, it's obviously not going to work that way. But in theory, it's like Google Stadia should have been created for people with bad internet who would struggle, who don't have the good setup, so you could actually play these games you otherwise couldn't play. Yeah. Obviously, that's not how it works, but it's just like, it's a very weird. It's like, yo, if you're the sort of person that has 1,000 up, 1,000 down, you probably also got a very good setup where you probably don't need to play on Stadia. So it's just like, it's this weird. I don't like to. Right, obviously, it's not this person's fault, right? But I don't like to point fingers, right? But there seems to be this rather strange coincidence, right? Phil Harrison, anytime he's around, right? When he was at Sony, and then there was the PS3 fiasco. I mean, he was there, right? When he was at Microsoft, and it was Kinect. Oof, Kinect was not so great. And now he's at Stadia. Right? and there was something he said the other day, and I was like, I'm sorry, right? I know Stadia's not going too great, right? But what have you been smoking, right? He said the other day that a lot of consoles, right? They have, their controls are quite masculine in design. They're quite sort of aggressive. He's like, one thing that we've done with Stadia, which is revolutionary, is we've released it in 3 gender neutral colors. with good. Like,
wow,
they
what a
literally said,
revolutionary! You've
they-
made different colored controllers.
I was just like, did you
What?
was this a misquote from a media, or did you actually just say one of the great things we're doing with Stadia to try and make it more appealing is that we've released them in gender neutral colors? Like, your system doesn't work, and you want to tell me that one of the greatest selling points is that you have a wasabi green controller? Come on, man.
Holy disconnected. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. It's I was like, okay, then. I mean,
That's a big
They
yikes.
also were gonna launch with 12, and then at the last minute, like, just kidding, 22, which I thought was really strange because that kind of felt like they weren't on top of what was going on necessarily.
Wait,
Yeah,
12,
I don't know.
12
They were
games.
gonna learn. Yeah, they were gonna launch with 12 games, and then
and
last
22.
minute it was at last minute they announced it's actually 22. Still, honestly, I mean, mine's on the way, so I'm gonna try it out and see how it goes. I would love to actually try and take it somewhere, like maybe go to a hotel and try hotel Wi-Fi
I
and see what
cannot
it's like.
imagine this working on hotel Wi-Fi. I just can't.
I mean, maybe. Who knows?
You know what-
maybe
I can
maybe
picture
it's a
it being
Google
like?
hotel.
You know, I can picture the experience playing through a hotel. You know, like back in the day, if you played an Elgato before they released the Elgato HD60S, it was just the 60, and there was like the 10-second delay, and you used to try and play through your capture card, and you'd have to press forward and then wait for it to move. I feel like that's what Stadia is going to be like.
I hope not.
I mean, I've used what's the PlayStation version of that service? I've used that.
PS Now.
Is that what it's called? And it's that's kind of how it is. But for some games, it's fine. Like if you're playing like a 3D game like Tomb Raider, it's kind of fine to have like a little bit of delay. But if you're playing a game that requires precision movement and precision timing, like Mega Man, I remember trying to play on it, and it was impossible. But I use the NVIDIA Shield in the house, and there's not even delay just going from my computer to the NVIDIA Shield on my own home network. I mean, there's a delay there that you can feel.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's gonna be I take it with me when I go away to get that super awesome roll on that exotic armor that Zer's selling, or pick up that bounty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I also, even if this thing works perfectly, the pricing model, I think, sinks it like right off the bat. As soon as you realize what the pricing model is for this, it's like, oh, well, no.
Yeah.
Because like you gotta buy games just for Stadia. What's Google's track record of just dropping services?
Yeah.
Luckily, Destiny 2 is free, and I think that's the only thing I'd play on it.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do too. I mean, when I think about like the combination of Game Pass and Microsoft's xCloud, like suddenly I'm really like excited about something, because imagine being able to play any of your Xbox games on any device that you already own or that you're subscribed to Game Pass, and you can get that way. Like that suddenly becomes like more like a Netflix like service where you have access to all these games. Maybe I don't have my hardware with me, but I have access to all these games, not for like additional $60 per game, but because I subscribe to the service.
Yeah.
That is like way more interesting to me.
It's also just straight up, if the service doesn't work good, then that's the biggest deal killer. Because I saw it as, okay, being able to jump in and play some Destiny on any platform, or I mean not any platform, but like anywhere in your house, or if you do take it for traveling, yeah, that's great. That's a great option right there. But if it performs worse than a console and is also extremely laggy, that I'm not going to play that. Just straight up. I'm just
nope.
Enough.
I mean, I played Doom on it at PAX, and it felt fine.
Same.
It felt fine. If that's the experience I get, I can bring it to my father's house. I'm going to Thanksgiving with my family to my father's house.
Yeah.
And if I can plug it in and, like you said, Watts, check Sir, like maybe do a bounty or two in my spare time. That's actually a wonderful device for me, because I don't have to bring a PlayStation. I don't have to bring a PC, but I can still like log in, play a few minutes of Destiny in my spare time while, whatever.
If there's no hiccups.
If there's no hiccups.
If there's
the
no
internet
hiccups,
is good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
It would be great for the holidays because you're going to all the different families places. So if it does work, then it would be great. I've been here for 5 hours. I'm gonna go play some Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
If it worked.
Yeah.
Then it would be amazing.
Like there's those times where like maybe like everybody wants to go do like something and they're like, I'm not interested in doing that. I'll just sit here and maybe watch a movie or play a video game.
Yeah.
Or plug that thing into like any TV
or your phone.
You
just
in the
plug
future,
it directly in your phone.
play it on your phone.
Yeah.
Plug the controller.
That is super. That's super cool, but like it's cool because I play Destiny.
Yeah.
The
other issue also,
like if I got to pay $60 for another version of a game that doesn't have cross save with the versions I'm playing, Destiny does. But like if I'm big into Assassin's Creed Odyssey and like, oh wait, this doesn't support cross save, so I have to start over. Like,
Paul Tassi brought that up in Borderlands. It's like, is he gonna restart a Borderlands character in Google Stadia
just because I want to play on the weekend? Like,
no
way during Thanksgiving.
Not happening.
Yeah. So it's great if you're a Destiny fan.
Yeah.
You might get some use out of it if you're a Destiny
Exactly.
fan.
I can only really see this working for Destiny, and then outside of that, it's like, I mean, because like even if you do mobile like data rates, you're looking at like what 4 gig, 5 gig, maybe 20 gig for streaming, like an hour.
No, you got to be on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like I mean, if Borderlands enables cross save for it, then boom, it's great for Borderlands too. Anything all those games, anything with cross save, it's perfect for because you just pick up where you left off because you're at a hotel, or you're at your aunt's house for the weekend or whatever. Like that's cool.
I feel like,
or you just want like a convenient way to play in the bedroom.
Yeah,
like that's cool too.
Yeah. I feel like we're at an age
Crucible
where we need. My God, I feel like we're at an age where we need like this broad cross save solution to be implemented by some company that's like, here is the one stop. This is the iCloud of saves that connect to all your systems to then make this all connect easily.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, though, actually, maybe Crucible would be really fun.
Maybe that's how we get to Legend.
Right?
Although everyone else would be playing on Stadia.
Yeah.
So
Reddit would catch wind of it quick, be like, Google Stadia is the way to go Legend. All right. Is that the show?
Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe I'll put out a video on YouTube about it of like Google
I'm
Stadia
very
and
curious.
my experience with it.
I'm very curious about how you guys actually, what your experiences are. I didn't pre-order it. I decided not to. But like, if you guys get it and have some time with it, I'm very, very curious what the response is.
They're shipping now. Like they should be delivered between the 22nd and the 25th, I think, if you get the...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although I know that there are some shipping delays, so I'm not exactly sure who's affected by that and who's not. Did you hear that one of the Stadia developers said they would bring it to somebody's house?
I did see that, yeah.
Don't do that.
It's like, mate, get out while you can.
Oh my God. That's the show.
Should we wrap this thing up?
Right? Yeah, that's
It
episode
is.
26.
SideQuest complete.
Yep, there it is.
Ba-ding.
Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, shout out to all our patrons and live viewers and people on YouTube and various podcast syndication. Really appreciate all the support across the board. Next week, what are we going to be talking about next week?
Next week is, Shenmue comes out tomorrow, so that could be a topic for next week.
It does, really.
There's the Maliwan takedown in Borderlands this week.
I'm excited about that.
Something else. And there's also... we're coming towards the end of the Game Awards is coming up soon, but they won't be next week.
True.
Will you-
They will have they'll have
that.
the nominees. They will have the nominees up, so we can take a look at the nominees and kind of see who we could do a DCP game of us voting on who we think will win.
I think we should. I think we should do like a SideQuest game of the award show.
Wow,
Game award show.
nice.
Yeah.
I like
Maybe
it.
pick a couple topics. And I think we should all agree on the winner. We should have
Definitely.
We'll all
we
agree.
should have it out. Yeah.
Wow.
The winner's going to
Interesting.
be Zelda.
Interesting.
Not biased at all.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. Catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft.
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts.
You can find me over on Twitter at Arix and YouTube at Arix/G. Arix/G/ArixG. That's the one. Hey, whatever. One of those ones.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me on YouTube. Look up Briar Rabbit. I got some really interesting stuff coming from a company called Thrustmaster.
Oh my.
Master.
Uh-huh.
All right. The content I subscribe
Look that one
for.
up. That's your dangerous click of the day right there. But we'll be doing some fun stuff on YouTube with Thrustmaster.
Sounds awesome. Cool.
Are you sure that's how many...
Yeah.
Yeah. Viewer beware. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.